Hello.
My wife drained our son's college fund and ran off with her boyfriend. I was devastated, until my 10-year-old son looked up at me and said, "Don't worry, Dad. I took care of it, and thanks to him, their lives are destroyed." I always knew marriage was a gamble. You roll the dice, you place your bets, and you hope to God you don't get cleaned out. Turns out, I did. Literally. I came home that afternoon expecting the usual chaos, a half-finished laundry pile, my wife scrolling her phone, and my son, Alex, working on one of his endless side projects that made me wonder if he was secretly a 40-year-old man in a kid's body. Instead, I found a letter on the kitchen counter. "Bill, I'm sorry, but I need to be happy. You'll understand one day. I took the money. Don't try to find me." I wish I could say I felt something profound in that moment, anger, heartbreak, maybe even relief. Instead, all I felt was tired. Tired of being the guy who worked his ass off while she searched for meaning at wine tastings and business retreats that, in hindsight, were just excuses to shack up with Damien, her walking midlife crisis. But the worst part? She took every last cent of Alex's college fund. Years of savings. Gone. I sank into a chair, rubbing my temples, when I noticed Alex standing in the doorway, watching me carefully. He didn't look panicked. He didn't even look upset. Instead, he grinned. "It's okay, Dad. I took care of it." I blinked. "What?" Alex hopped up onto the chair across from me, swinging his legs like this was just another normal day. "Mom only thought she took the money." That's when my phone buzzed. One missed call. From my wife. I didn't answer. Another call. Then another. Finally, a text. "Bill, I need help. I think I'm in trouble." I looked back at my son. He just smiled wider. I stared at Alex, my 10-year-old son, who had just casually informed me that he had saved his own college fund from his mother. This was the same kid who once spent an entire summer trying to train a squirrel to high-five him. And yet, somehow, he had outmaneuvered a grown woman and her dirtbag boyfriend. "Alex," I said slowly, "you wanna run that by me again?" He took a sip of orange juice like we were discussing his math homework. "Mom never actually got the money. I moved it." I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. "You moved it?" He nodded, eyes twinkling. "Crypto." I blinked. "Crypto?" "Yeah," he said, as if that explained everything. "I converted the whole fund before Mom could touch it. Put it in a cold wallet. Now she's locked out." I sat back, running a hand down my face. I didn't know whether to laugh, cry, or ask my son if he was a time traveler sent back to financially save our family. I looked at him, studying his completely calm expression. "How did you even know to do this?" Alex shrugged. "Mom was acting weird. She started asking me how much money was in the fund." My stomach twisted. "She asked you?" He nodded. "Tried to make it sound casual, but she's not great at lying. Then she started using my tablet a lot, which she never does. So, I checked the browsing history." I just stared. "You checked her history?" "Yep," he said, popping the P. "She was looking up how to transfer large amounts from joint accounts." I let out a humorless chuckle. "Unbelievable." "Yeah," Alex said. "So I figured I should probably do something before she did." I shook my head. "Jesus, kid." Then, as if on cue, my phone rang. "Lisa." For the 5th time in the last hour. I flipped it over. Ignored it. A second later, a text came through. "Bill, I don't know what's happening. The money is gone. Please, I need to talk to you." Then another. "Something's wrong with my accounts. Call me now." Alex grinned. "She just realized, huh?" I huffed out a laugh. Oh yeah. I was about to toss my phone aside when it rang again. This time, I answered, just to see how desperate she'd gotten. The moment I picked up, she was already yelling. Bill! What the hell did you do? I put her on speaker, just for Alex's amusement. What are you talking about? The money. It's gone. The college fund. It was there yesterday, and now. She was spiraling. Good. I leaned back in my chair. Lisa, I have no idea what you're talking about. Don't lie to me. You did something. My credit cards aren't working, Damien's pissed, and now my bank is saying my account is under investigation. Alex raised an eyebrow. Oh. Investigation. I smirked. That sounds rough. Bill, please. I just need to know what happened. Please. For a second, I almost felt bad. Almost. Then I remembered how she had walked out on us, stolen from our son, and left me to pick up the pieces. So I smiled and said, good luck with that. And then I hung up. Alex's fist bumped the air. Dad, that was legendary. I laughed, shaking my head. You, kid, are terrifying. Thanks, he grinned. Then my phone buzzed again. Lisa, Bill. Please. I need help. Damien is freaking out. I turned to Alex. So, how long before she completely unravels? Alex thought for a second. Then he grinned. Give it a day. I smirked. Let's make some popcorn. 2 days. That's how long it took for Lisa's perfect escape plan to collapse in on itself. It started early. Too early. The kind of hour when normal people are just waking up, stretching, thinking about breakfast. Not Lisa. My phone buzzed furiously across the table, vibrating with the kind of desperation only a sinking ship can produce. I glanced at the caller ID. Her. Alex looked up from his cereal, spoon halfway to his mouth. She's losing it, isn't she? Yep. I let it ring. Twice. Then, finally, I answered. The first thing I heard wasn't even words, just sheer panic. A frantic, disorganized mess of yelling and sharp breaths. It took a few seconds before actual sentences started forming. She was screaming about frozen accounts, declined cards, and a boyfriend who was suddenly a lot less loving now that the money was gone. I listened. Didn't say much. Just let her implode. Apparently, the meltdown had begun the night before. A fancy dinner she couldn't pay for. Damien standing there, watching her card get declined over and over again while she scrambled for excuses. A hotel threatening to lock her out of the room if she didn't settle the bill. And Damien? Oh, he was furious. Turns out, a guy who dates a married woman for her stolen money doesn't take it well when the money vanishes. He had demanded answers. She didn't have any. She'd called the bank, they were reviewing the account for fraud. Her panic escalated. She called again. Another declined card. Called again. Nothing. And just like that, Damien, her prize, her new beginning, the man she threw her family away for, walked out. Gone. She tried calling him, of course. No answer. Sent a message. No reply. So now she was here, calling me. Begging. I kept my voice calm. Measured. Bored, even. Lisa, I really don't know what to tell you. She kept spiraling. Accusing me. Accusing the bank. Accusing someone of hacking her. I simply sipped my coffee. I let her burn herself out, her voice cracking as she realized she was getting nowhere. Finally, after what felt like ages, she whispered, Bill, please. I don't know what to do. I almost laughed. She didn't know what to do. She hadn't seemed this lost when she packed her bags, stole from her own son, and disappeared with her lover. But now that her world was crumbling, now that she was alone and helpless, suddenly, she needed me. I exhaled, leaned back in my chair, and simply said, "Good luck with that." And I hung up. Across from me, Alex grinned. "That," he said, "was beautiful." I laughed, shaking my head. "She's not done yet. Give it a few more hours." Sure enough, my phone buzzed again. This time, a text. "Lisa, Bill. Please. I'm serious. Damien left. I have nothing." I showed it to Alex. He took one look and smirked. "She's getting desperate." I nodded. "And it's only gonna get worse." Because Lisa didn't know it yet, but this wasn't rock bottom. Not even close. The first call came at 6:43 a.m. I was already awake, sipping my coffee on the back porch, watching the sun rise on what felt like the first real morning of my life. My son, Alex, was still asleep inside, blissfully unaware that his mother had just discovered her money was gone. The phone buzzed again. "Lisa." I let it ring. Then came the text messages, rapid fire, like an auctioneer trying to sell a sinking ship. "Lisa, Bill, what the hell is happening? The money is gone. Call me now. Lisa, I know you did something. Where is it? Lisa, answer your phone." I took another sip of coffee. The silence was nice. I'd expected this moment. Lisa thought she'd woken up to a six-figure jackpot. Instead, she woke up to a zero balance, a boyfriend who probably started questioning his investment, and, if there was any justice in the world, a splitting headache from all the cheap wine she celebrated with last night. I glanced at Alex's bedroom door. Still shut. Last night, when I asked him how he pulled it off, he just smiled and said, "It's all about timing, Dad." I was raising a financial assassin. The phone buzzed again. "Lisa, Damien is pissed. I need to know what you did." "Ah, Damien. The boyfriend. The man who thought he was getting a free ride. The man who once told me, to my face, that I was too soft to ever succeed in life. How poetic that he now found himself broke before breakfast." The door creaked open. Alex stepped onto the porch, still in his pajamas, rubbing his eyes. "She called, didn't she?" he asked, his voice thick with sleep. I nodded, holding up the phone. "Multiple times." Alex yawned. "Want me to handle it?" I nearly choked on my coffee. "Handle it? Kid, I'm your father. If anyone's handling it, it's me." He shrugged. "Just saying. If she wants her money back, I can tell her it's tied up in long-term investments." I smirked. "You enjoy this too much. She brought it on herself." He stretched, heading inside. "I'm making waffles. You want some?" "Yeah, sure." As he walked away, I stared at my phone. Lisa would keep calling. She'd scream, she'd cry, she'd blame me for ruining her life. But the truth was, she'd ruined it herself. She'd placed her bets on the wrong people, underestimated the wrong ones, and now she was learning that some mistakes don't come with refunds. And as for me? I took another sip of coffee. For the first time in years, I had nothing but time. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at my 10-year-old son as he casually spread peanut butter on his waffle like he hadn't just committed a level of financial warfare that would make Wall Street veterans weep. "So," I said, keeping my voice steady, "you want to tell me exactly what you did?" Alex took a slow bite, chewed, and then leaned back in his chair, looking way too pleased with himself for a kid wearing dinosaur pajamas. "Okay, so you remember how Mom kept talking about moving the money into her account for safekeeping?" I nodded. Lisa had been floating that idea for weeks, pretending it was about better interest rates and easier access. I'd known it was a setup, but before I could figure out my next move, Alex had already pulled the trigger. Right. Well, I knew she was gonna try something shady, so I took action first. I moved the entire college fund into an investment account under my name. Well, technically, under a custodial trust where I'm the beneficiary and you're the trustee. That way, she legally can't touch it. I blinked. You set up a custodial trust? Alex nodded, taking another bite of his waffle. Yeah, it was easy. You used my social security number to open the original account anyway, so I just transferred it into a more secure one. And how exactly did you do that? I asked, both terrified and impressed. Dad, Alex sighed, you used the same password for everything. Your banking login was, like, the first thing I cracked. I let that sink in. So, you're telling me that I lost my money to my own kid because I'm too predictable? He gave me an exaggerated shrug. It's not lost, Dad. It's strategically diversified. I rubbed my temples. Okay. Fine. I'll bite. Where is the money? Alex grinned. Alright, so first, I moved 60% of it into an index fund that tracks the S&P 500. Historically, that gets an average return of 8 to 10% per year, which is way better than whatever checking account Mom was planning to dump it into. I stared at him. You put it in the stock market? Yeah. It's long-term. Low risk. That money's gonna grow. He wiped his mouth with a napkin and continued, as if this was normal breakfast conversation. Then, I took 20% and put it into high-yield bonds. Pretty safe, but still better than letting it sit in cash. You're serious? 100%. Now, the last 20%? That's the fun part. I leaned forward. Define fun. Cryptocurrency. I groaned, running a hand down my face. Alex. Relax, Dad. I didn't YOLO it into meme coins. I diversified it between Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Solana. It's volatile, but I put most of it into staking protocols, so we're earning passive income. I don't even know what half of that means. I exhaled. So what you're saying is, you locked everything away where your mother can't touch it, and instead of just letting it sit, you're growing it? Alex grinned. Exactly. I sat back in my chair, processing. And you're 10. 11 in 3 months, he corrected. Anyway, I also set up a separate account with just enough money left in it to make it look like it was still growing. Mom and Damien were watching it, thinking they were about to hit the jackpot. I made sure they saw deposits coming in, just to mess with them. Then, boom, last night, I switched the balance to 0 and locked them out. I let out a low whistle. You really planned this? Of course. If I left the money in a normal account, Mom could have legally claimed it in court. Now, she can't even access it without your approval. And something tells me you're not giving it to her. I chuckled, shaking my head. No, kid. I'm not. Alex nodded, satisfied, and went back to eating his waffle. Meanwhile, I was left wondering how the hell my 10-year-old was better at protecting assets than most adults. So, Alex said, swallowing his last bite, what's next? I took a deep breath, already picturing Lisa's next move. Next, we wait. Your mom's not just gonna let this go. Alex smirked. Good. I like watching her lose. I laughed. You're scary, kid. I know. It was a quiet afternoon. Too quiet. Alex was on the couch, watching some finance video about compound interest, because apparently, that's what he does for fun. I was halfway through a sandwich, enjoying the rare moment of peace, when the doorbell rang. And just like that, the peace was gone. Alex looked up. "Wanna bet it's Mom?" "No way," I said. "She doesn't knock. She just storms in." I stood up, stretched, and opened the door. Instead of Lisa, I found two police officers standing on my porch. One was a tall guy with tired eyes, the other a woman with a clipboard and an expression that screamed, "I do not get paid enough for this." "Mr. Carter?" the tall officer asked. "Depends," I said, crossing my arms. "Are you selling something?" He gave me a look that suggested he wasn't in the mood. "Your ex-wife filed a report claiming you stole a large sum of money from a joint account." I couldn't help it, I laughed. Right in their faces. The female officer frowned. "Sir, this is a serious matter." "Oh, I'm sure it is," I said, still grinning. "Let me guess, Lisa is outside, dramatically weeping in her car while her idiot boyfriend yells about injustice." The officers exchanged glances. "Yeah," the guy admitted, rubbing his temple. "Of course she was." "Well, come on in," I said, stepping aside. "This'll be fun." They followed me inside, where Alex was still on the couch, now eating popcorn like he was watching a courtroom drama. I turned to him. "Hey, buddy, the police think I stole your money." Alex's eyes lit up. "Oh, awesome. I was wondering when this would happen." The officers looked at each other again. The woman sighed. "Sir, we just need to see proof that the money in question was legally yours." Alex hopped up, grabbed his tablet, and tapped a few times. Then he turned the screen around and held it out. "There you go. Every transaction, every transfer, all in my name. Custodial trust, fully legal, notarized." The officers leaned in. The tall one squinted. "Wait, this account has been in your name since." "Since I was born," Alex said cheerfully. "Dad started it the day I came home from the hospital." I smiled. "Which means my ex-wife never had access to it. So whatever sob story she fed you? It's garbage." The female officer scrolled through the tablet, nodding. "Yeah, this all checks out." The tall guy sighed. "So the money was never hers?" "Nope," I said, popping the P. The woman turned to me. "Sir, do you want to file a counterclaim for false accusations?" I considered it. Oh, how tempting it was. But then I thought about it. Lisa was already furious. Already desperate. If I pushed her now, she'd spiral completely. And while I wanted her to suffer, I also wanted her to suffer slowly. "Nah," I said. "I'm feeling generous." The officers looked relieved. "All right, then," the tall guy said, handing me a card. "If she keeps harassing you, call us." "Will do," I said, escorting them to the door. As soon as they left, I peeked through the window. Sure enough, Lisa was in her car, dramatically sobbing, while Damien flailed his arms like some kind of enraged inflatable tube man. I turned back to Alex. "You think she's learned her lesson?" Alex didn't even look up from his tablet. "Nope." I sighed. "Yeah. Me neither." The next move was hers. And something told me it was gonna be a bad one. Lisa doesn't believe in quitting, I'll give her that. She believes in lying, cheating, stealing, and being the loudest person in any room, but not quitting. That's why, barely 24 hours after the police shut down her little financial fairy tale, she showed up at my door. No warning. No invitation. Just showed up like an Amazon package I never ordered but somehow had to deal with anyway. She was crying. Of course, she was. Big, dramatic, Oscar-worthy tears. And not the quiet kind, the kind that lets the neighbors know you've been wronged. I opened the door, already exhausted. "Lisa." "Bill," she gasped like she'd just sprinted here from across the country. "Please, just hear me out." I folded my arms. Is this about the money or Damien finally realizing you have the loyalty of a raccoon in a dumpster fire? She flinched. Good. Damien, he's not important. We are. I blinked. We? I looked around. Oh, sorry, I thought I was the only one standing here. Didn't realize I was part of a we again. She reached for my arm. I took a step back like she was contagious. Bill, I made a mistake. A huge mistake. But I swear, I was confused, and I thought that I was a backup plan. I interrupted. That you could rob me blind, shack up with a clown, and when it all went to hell, just waltz back here with a few tears and a sad story? She sniffled. I know you're mad. Mad? No. Mad is when you spill coffee on your shirt before work. This? This is something else entirely. She looked down, like she was trying to play the poor, ashamed victim. I miss our family. I miss you. I was stupid, and I let people influence me, but I know now where I belong. I raised an eyebrow. Oh yeah? And where's that? She sniffled. Here. With you and Alex. We can fix this. I know we can. I opened my mouth to shut this insanity down, but before I could, Alex, who I hadn't even noticed was standing behind me, piped up. Yeah, Mom, that's not happening. Lisa turned, startled. Honey, I know you're mad at me too, but I love you so much. I just want our family back. Alex, looking completely unbothered, just tilted his head. You want the family back? Or the money? Lisa gasped, like she was offended. How could you say that? Of course, I want you. Cool, then you'll be happy to know we're doing great. In fact, better than ever. He tapped on his tablet and turned it to me. Dad, check this out. The crypto I bought last week? It jumped 20%. The fund is already worth more than before. I blinked at the numbers. Jesus, kid, we made 10 grand while eating waffles. Alex shrugged. Good timing. Lisa, who was never good at hiding her greed, stared at the screen like a starving woman looking at a buffet. Wait, you made money? Already? Alex nodded. Yup. Smart investments. See, while you were busy trying to scam us, I was securing our future. Kind of ironic, huh? Lisa's eye twitched. But that was supposed to be for my. She stopped, realizing she was about to say something really stupid. I smirked. For your what, Lisa? Your new life? Your vacation fund? Your invest in a guy with zero assets project? She stammered. I just. No, go ahead, I said, waving my hand. Tell me what, exactly, you thought was yours. She had nothing. Just standing there, shifting on her feet, realizing she'd just lost her final card. I exhaled, suddenly feeling lighter. Lisa, we're done here. You made your bed. Go lie in it. But. I held up a hand. Goodbye, Lisa. And just like that, I closed the door. I could still hear her outside for a few minutes, sniffling, mumbling, probably hoping I'd open the door again. I didn't. Eventually, she left. Maybe to find Damien. Maybe to cry in her car. Maybe to Google how to undo massive personal failures. I sat at the kitchen table, watching the steam rise from my coffee as I scrolled through my phone. Lisa thought she had hit rock bottom. She thought losing the money and being dumped by Damien was the end of her suffering. She had no idea what was coming next. She had taken everything from me, my trust, my dignity, and even tried to steal from our son. I wasn't just going to let that slide. No, I needed her to truly understand the depth of her failure. And I had the perfect way to do it. This wasn't about money anymore. It wasn't even about Damien. This was about showing her exactly who she had become. Stripping away every last bit of self-respect she still clung to. Lisa loved her reputation more than anything. She thrived on people thinking she was sophisticated, desirable, a woman of taste. That's why this was going to be perfect. I unlocked my phone and opened the group chat. My old friends, the ones who had always been in the background, waiting for a chance to settle a score with Lisa. They had been more than happy to help when I mentioned what I needed. And now, it was time to pull the trigger. "Bill, it's ready?" A moment later, a reply popped up. "Mike, uploaded. You're gonna love this." I tapped the link. The video loaded, and there she was. Lisa, naked in Damien's convertible on the beach, giving him a blowjob like a cheap weekend fling. The camera angle was perfect, catching the desperation in her eyes, the way she thought she was in control. She had no idea this moment would become her legacy. I smirked. This wasn't just any video. This was about to become a viral sensation, carefully seeded into all the right corners of the internet. A few burner accounts, a little social engineering, and soon, Lisa Carter would be a name people whispered about in disgust. It started small. A post in a private gossip group where bored housewives and bitter exes gathered to feast on scandal. Then a drop in a forum known for dissecting the wreckage of people's lives. A few fake comments, some strategic outrage, and within hours, the video had legs. By noon, Lisa was trending. I leaned back in my chair, watching it all unfold in real time. The comments were merciless. Is this Damien's new side hustle? Selling tapes of his sugar mamas? Imagine ruining your family for this. She really thought she was winning, huh? And my favorite. Somebody check on her ex-husband. Bet he's having the time of his life. They weren't wrong. I barely had time to enjoy my victory before my phone started buzzing. Lisa. Again. I let it ring. Let her stew in it. Let her watch as her world collapsed in slow motion. Then, finally, when I was sure she was at the peak of her meltdown, I picked up. The moment I answered, I was greeted by ragged breathing. She was sobbing so hard she could barely get words out. Bill. I sipped my coffee. Lisa. Please, you have to help me. I let the silence stretch between us, savoring the moment. Help you? Like how you helped me when you drained Alex's college fund? Or when you ran off with Damien? Or when you thought I'd just roll over and take it? She let out a strangled cry. I didn't know this would happen. Please, Bill, it's everywhere. My job, my family, oh my God, my parents saw it. Good. I pretended to think about it. Yeah, that sounds rough. Bill, please. I sighed. Lisa, let me ask you something. If Damien hadn't left, if the money was still in your account, would you be calling me right now? Silence. That's what I thought. I heard a crash on her end, like she had knocked something over. I don't deserve this. I made a mistake. I didn't hurt anyone. I laughed, cold and sharp. You stole from your own son, Lisa. And now, you're finally paying the price. She tried again. Bill, please, if you ever loved me. That's when I lost whatever patience I had left. If I ever loved you? I repeated, my voice dropping to something deadly. Lisa, the woman I loved died a long time ago. You killed her. She broke completely then. The sobs turned into wails, hysterical and raw. And I just sat there, listening, drinking my coffee like this was just another Tuesday morning. Finally, I decided I'd had enough. You wanted freedom, Lisa, I said, my voice calm. Well, congratulations. You're free. Then I hung up. Alex walked into the kitchen a second later, rubbing his eyes. Mom freaking out again? I grinned. Oh yeah. He sat down, grabbing a slice of toast. She's not gonna stop, is she? Nope. Alex chewed thoughtfully. What's next? I leaned back, considering. Lisa wasn't done spiraling. Not yet. And I wasn't done watching her fall. Lisa's world had crumbled. She had lost everything, her job, her friends, and the life she had so eagerly abandoned us for. The last piece to fall was her dignity. She had been reduced to living with her parents, an arrangement that was more necessity than comfort. I heard through the grapevine that they barely tolerated her, offering a roof over her head but little else. She tried to act as though she was still the same Lisa, the confident, put-together woman she had always pretended to be. But the truth was, everyone saw her for who she really was now. The illusion was gone, and all that was left was a desperate woman with nowhere to go. I wasn't a monster. I didn't take pleasure in watching her suffer, not really. But I also wasn't about to save her. That part of me, the part that would have jumped in to fix things, had died the moment she walked out on us. I had moved on. She was allowed to see Alex, but only on my terms. Once every 2 weeks, and only if he wanted to. And as it turned out, he didn't always want to. Sometimes, he'd agree to a short visit. Other times, he'd shake his head, uninterested. Lisa had to live with the fact that she wasn't the center of his world anymore. That was her real punishment. She was no longer important. Alex and I had built something better without her. Our home, once filled with tension and the weight of unspoken truths, was now peaceful. We weren't just getting by, we were thriving. I had my business, my investments, and more importantly, I had my son. And Alex? That kid was going places. We were sitting in the living room one evening, eating takeout straight from the containers, when he looked up at me with that familiar mischievous grin. Dad, he said, can I invest some of the crypto in something fun? I nearly choked on my drink. Define fun. He shrugged, pretending to be casual, but I could see the excitement in his eyes. I dunno. Maybe a startup. Maybe an AI project. Or, hear me out, a theme park. I laughed. A theme park? Kid, you have big ideas. Hey, he said, leaning back, I turned our life savings into a profitable portfolio. I think I deserve a little spending money. I shook my head, grinning. All right. We'll talk investments. But no theme parks. Fine, he said. But what about a drone company? I raised an eyebrow. A drone company? Yeah, he nodded enthusiastically. You ever see those drone light shows? They're getting big. People are using them for events, weddings, even advertising. We could get in early. I had to admit, he wasn't just throwing ideas out for fun. He had thought about this. You really believe in this? I asked. He nodded. It's the future, Dad. And the future is where the money is. I chuckled, shaking my head. You're something else, kid. Yeah, I know. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't worried about what came next. Lisa was just a ghost in our past, a cautionary tale. And Damien? He was probably off somewhere, trying to leech off the next unlucky woman. We didn't need them. Alex and I had everything we needed. And as I sat there, watching my son dream up his next big move, I realized that the real revenge wasn't just taking back what was ours. It was proving we never needed her in the first place. And that? That was priceless.
Bye-bye.